Welcome back to Cookies and Milk episode 69.
Is this 69?
Yeah, it's episode 69, dude.
Wow.
Bring it in. Alright, so that was 4 high fives, so we have some guests on the podcast. We've got a local celebrity expert.
Ben Pettit.
Ben
Thanks for
Pettit.
having me.
Local celebrity
Just
expert.
finished my book. I just finished my book asking you about my book.
What's your book?
It's called The Death of George Washington.
We got celebrity expert.
You might be familiar with George Washington. You know him, I know him. He didn't die. That's all my book is about. It's about the conspiracy of his death.
Oh, okay.
Shrouded in rumor, shrouded in mystery. Please ask me questions.
Do you have an excerpt to
about
read us
my
from
book.
this book?
I don't actually.
How long
It's
is
not
the
out
book?
yet. It's not out yet.
How long is it?
65,000
You
pages.
should have said 69,000 pages, dude.
Yeah.
Did not though. Ask me why.
I'm not.
Why?
I guess
We got celebrity expert. Cat
It's
Valor.
Alan and Cat.
Alan and Cat were here.
Today's episode is brought to you by Nature Box.
No, it's not.
We're having Nature Box mini peanut butter oatmeal cookies and Nature Box lemon tea biscuits because this fucker showed up at my apartment and didn't bring any goddamn cookies to have in our podcast.
He knows we don't keep cookies in this house.
You had white cake last time I was here.
What are we talking about?
Well, I mean, it would make sense if we talked about horror as a genre.
Because
And
Cat's
why?
here.
how you didn't let me introduce why Kat is here and why Alan is also here.
Why would it make sense to talk about horror?
The Slenderman movie just
I'm
came
your
out.
host,
It's
Alan.
It just got announced, basically.
It's fucking
And even though there's a lot of bad things surrounding it, it's still a horror movie based on a game,
What
based
bad
on
things are
a
surrounding
myth. You didn't hear?
No, I didn't.
No, he was getting pizza while we were talking about
Okay,
that.
well, a girl was killed by 2 other girls.
Oh,
She was
this-
no, wait.
killed
She was
until she was hospitalized.
she was hospitalized
The
by.
main actress looks a lot like the victim of the Slenderman stabbing.
No shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Wow, that's it.
also they announced it almost exactly a month after
The anniversary.
The 4th anniversary, was it?
Oh no, the movie's coming out in on the 4th anniversary. But they announced it right
Yeah.
after one of the perpetrators was committed to a mental institution.
No shit.
Which is one of the themes of the movie.
Right, it takes
So
it's-
people
Oh yeah, you're
are
right.
Yeah.
So,
Wow.
yeah.
Anyway, this is.
That was episode 69. I've been your host, Ben. Thanks for coming out, guys.
Yeah!
Tell me more about your book.
Your book, right?
Whose book?
We all write books.
Except for
I
Cat.
don't.
Cat doesn't write books.
Yeah, she's a celebrity expert, not an author.
It's not like that's how we promote.
I wish that were me.
Anyway, yeah. Oh, God, you really took the wind out of my sails. This whole thing really.
It's 5 o'clock on a Thursday. I just got off work and I came home and nothing was set up.
That's true.
The table wasn't cleaned. The
That's
least
true.
they could have fucking did was clean the table. You guys
true.
gotta understand.
It's true. The reason Kat is here is because she's a horror expert. Alan also enjoys horror.
Due to the somebody
Me.
yeah, it's all Ben.
So the main question I have is: do you guys think horror games like Five Nights at Freddy's or Hello Neighbor, or I want to think of others, but I can't.
Spooky's House with Jump Scares.
I
I
guess.
just watched it.
Yeah.
Wasn't Bendy that game?
Bendy and the Ink Machine is also a horror game, yeah.
Do you think they'd do as well without the internet community that is so dedicated to them?
I think that actually, the internet horror community, more, I'd say that it comes down more to the creepypasta community than horror as a genre. I feel like creepypasta does have, a lot of sway in the video game world.
Because a lot of these games that I was talking about, I just listed, they read somewhat like creepypastas. Also, you are wearing a Freddy Fazbear shirt.
I am, I knew we were talking about.
We're all wearing
Five
Freddy
Nights at
Fazbear
Freddy's.
shirts, though.
It's not like I
That's-
have a Freddy Fazbear plush collection upstairs
true.
or anything. Okay.
Actually, you know what? I think all 3 of us, you, me, and Kat, are the Five Nights at Freddy's fans. I think Alan's the odd one out here.
Yeah, I don't... It's not like I've dedicated upwards of 3 years of my life to collecting.
How
Yeah.
much money?
Oh, this is.
Don't ask that question. How much? Don't ask. You don't get to ask that question, as we are surrounded by a bunch of your magic cards.
Got them all for free, if you can believe it.
No way.
I don't.
I had
Because
it
we
big
bought
at
them
a-
the other day.
I had a big at a draft tournament. The first time I ever played, made a couple $1,000, and I've just been sort of coasting on
So you
that.
didn't get them for free. You did have to pay for them.
No, a friend gave me the entrance to the draft tournament as a gift.
No. You got that money. That money became yours.
And you
Oh,
spend
but
it.
you spend that money on magic cards.
No. They said that you can't see a dime of it. You just point at the magic cards you want, and we'll give you them.
You know, there's a rule in improv where you don't say no.
No.
Back to the horror topic. I think a lot of the. I think all the games you listed are indie games. None of them are
Yep.
AAA titles like The Evil Within or Soma was a AAA title, wasn't it? Was Soma indie?
No,
I think it's an indie.
You could say Resident Evil 7.
Yeah, Resident Evil 7. That's the one I was looking for. I was like, what am I thinking?
Much easier to
Which
say.
I just also watched a little more of. But the thing is, they wouldn't inherently, if they didn't have the internet community, they wouldn't get much publicity at all. If there weren't creators out there who were dedicated to promoting indie material.
And then there are also a lot of indie games that have been based around creepypastas as well.
Yeah.
You know, you've got your SCP games, Jeff the Killer, 8 Pages.
There's I just saw one the other day. I can't remember what it was. My uncle who
The
works at
Shadow
Nintendo.
Oh, yeah.
They did that one.
I have seen that game.
It is. What?
Speaking of Jeff the Killer,
Top tier.
the only time I've ever seen a lot of him is in Little Big Planet. The community levels. I was just like, oh,
God.
these are. Why are they doing this here?
Sometimes it's there. Like just how it goes.
So
Yeah.
here's, I have a question.
Yeah.
Sort of a hypothetical. If there wasn't this rise in horror games, like sort of indie-based horror games, jump scares, especially like that, do you think Resident Evil ever would have gone back? Do you think Resident Evil 7 would be like it is, or do you think it would have been another third-person shooter, almost more action than anything else?
That sounds like a question for Kat.
I do feel like it probably would have been... I still feel like they would have gotten there and released additional installations, but I don't think that they would have been as horror-based as they are.
Yeah, because I think Resident Evil 7 and PT...
I was going to ask about that.
PT is it falls into those same games that are almost more fun to watch someone else play than they are to play, which is something that I've noticed about a lot of the games that we've talked about today. Games that have become more designed to be let's played than they are to play.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's one of those things in it's their marketing both towards the people who are playing it and the people who are watching it. Like, because when you're watching it, you are focused more on the visuals and also the storytelling of it, because you're not physically engaged with the game, you're watching it from a standpoint, whereas the player is the one who has to be more involved with the mechanics of it.
It is to this day one of the weirdest things about, which one was it? Five Nights at Freddy's 4? That had the huge listening mechanic.
Yeah, that
You
was...
really had to be listening to it.
Right, it didn't translate so well to Let's Plays.
There was like audio elements in all of the Five Nights at Freddy games.
There
wasn't
were,
there?
but they were not...
4 was really focused on.
Yeah.
Which one was that? Where you were a kid?
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
the kid,
this is
you're
okay.
listening in the hallways and stuff.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
because well, it implemented the mechanic is you couldn't make a misstep and close the door by accident.
And I was
Because you
surprised
weren't
to
listening.
see how much of that mechanic they brought back for
Oh, yeah.
Pizzeria Simulator.
That was in Pizzeria Simulator a lot.
Not as
also.
much as 4, but like way more than I would have expected.
I feel like Pizzeria Simulator went and really was the culmination of all the games. Like, because I mean it was the last main series entry, so it
That's-
sort of had to take all the best parts from everything.
That's a question. There's a point I feel like it hit it kind of really early in. I think at 3. I want to say, where it felt to me like Scott was just milking the series at that point.
I definitely felt that way when I played 3.
Like, I was seeing, like, I wasn't that into it anyway, but I wasn't being like, oh, it's a big franchise and stuff, but I did see, like, Five Nights at Freddy 3, okay. I feel like you're going a bit overboard with how many games you've released so back-to-back, and, like, the fan communities... Maybe not the fan communities.
One of the things I've noticed about Five Nights at Freddy's, from an outsider's perspective, is that the games literally, for so many sequels that exist, it's just like, hey, now you're doing like more of the same thing. Five Nights at Freddy's was literally always like, and here's this game's new thing, and here's this game's new thing, and here's this game's new thing, and here's this game's new thing. Which is just, it's a lot.
Yeah.
I feel like they reeled it back in a little bit for 4, but 3 really did drive me crazy for that. Because 1 was great. 2, they expanded on those ideas. 3, they pushed it too far, I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, like...
And it wasn't scary.
Yeah,
like, it
3...
was more funny than anything else.
Oh my god.
Because you can see the animatronics moving, you know? They're, like, creeping
Oh, yeah,
around
they're
the
walking
door,
on the-
and it's...
So, for those of... I'm just going to list them off the way I understand it, and you guys can correct me. So, 1 is the first one. There's the 4 animatronics?
5.
There's 5.
There's 5
Don't forget about
animatronics?
Foxy.
He's forgetting about Golden Freddy.
Sure.
Oh, right.
But it's the main one. It's you've just got the doors and the lights.
Yep.
And that's it, right?
And the monitor. That's
The
it.
camera, you
Yeah.
gotta look at them.
And then in 2, they added a fuck ton of stuff to the system. They added the flashlight that you would light up. They added the vents. They added the music box.
And the head.
and
They
the head.
doubled the animatronics.
Yeah.
And they took away the door.
And
Right.
so you would have them jumping at... Yeah, there's just no door. So they would just like jump at you in the main thing. And they would pop around there. 3 is the one where you are working on the haunted house.
And
version
it's
of it,
like,
right?
isn't it like psychological effects?
Yeah, like there's gas and
And
stuff.
there's only one animatronic,
Yeah.
technically.
But there's like...
Springtrap is the only
So-
animatronic, but that's the Phantom
Hallucination.
animatronic.
There's like a psyche meter. And 4 was the one where you're a child.
Yep.
You're walking around in your room. Very audio based.
There's sister location.
Sister location was 5,
Yep.
which you could move in sister location, right? That was the big
Yes.
thing. You would move from room
There's
to
a
room.
lot of
Yep.
areas.
And then I have not seen anything for
Pizzeria Simulator
Yeah, I haven't
is
either.
I think it really combines like what Scott is really good at, which is his really weird sense of humor. Because half of it's like the Pizzeria Simulator, where you build your own Freddy Fazbear's, and you basically adjust the difficulty as you build your pizzeria.
Right.
Because you can buy more animatronics and give yourselves more liabilities, and basically invite more into that you have to deal with. But then the actual FNAF part of it is the where you have to get all your stuff done on the computer.
But, like, to cycle back around a little bit to the topic, I do think that Five Nights at Freddy's, more than any of the other franchises that you listed, is something that is carried almost exclusively by the fans of the horror community.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah,
All of the hidden lore, like, drove the first game so much, and the theories, the fan fiction, you know, like, all of the art, the fan-made games.
Yeah.
It's also one of those things where I definitely want to put it out on the table. I have nothing but respect for Scott. He is an incredible success story with Five Nights at Freddy's, and I think it's amazing what he's done. I love Scott.
The Five Nights at Freddy's is an example of all the gears working in perfect mesh.
Yeah.
So Scott created a
Like
game
in an animatronic.
So Scott created a game that had like a bunch to it and a bunch of replay value, or I guess play value. You played through the whole thing, and then you got like
Right.
extra difficulties and stuff, which in turn is sort of perfect for Let's Players. Which Let's Players are very popular and really popularized the game, which led to more people looking into it. More people looking into it meant they really discovered the lore and what all the game had to offer. And then Scott made another game and really pushed it, and then more people got on, and then just more people and more people and more people. More games and more games and more games.
I think we've hit the... I can't say... Do you feel like we've hit the precipice, though? Where it's going to stop? I mean, Scott's done with the series, right?
I mean, for FNAF, I think he's done with that as his main thing that he's producing.
I feel like I
But
heard that
he's-
every single time.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Every single game.
I'm talking more like...
Yeah.
Is the train slowing down?
getting to the end of this game, I did feel like it had more of a conclusion. I feel like taking that into consideration, it would be harder to pick up from this point if that was something that happened.
I think it's one of those things where he actually, like, he really did tie up so many of the loose ends with this one where, like, at the end of 3, it was like, oh, you freed the souls, but you actually didn't. But it's like, in this one, you actively burn the animatronics, and you actively kill the main antagonist.
Wait, spoilers, yeah.
Sorry. I assumed spoilers were going into this.
I mean,
Sure.
the Pizzeria Simulator, how long, that was in mid-December?
Yeah, it's been
When did you
out.
tell me about it? Mid-December, yeah?
Like late December,
Okay,
I
yeah.
believe. It's been pretty recent.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because it was my last game review.
But I feel like if anyone was like that interested in the FNAF, they'd have already played it,
Oh,
or they
absolutely.
would have watched a playthrough of it. It's
does-
so accessible.
It is very accessible. It's one of those. Pizzeria Simulator is also totally free. This is a completely free entry into the series.
Because that's a fucking billionaire, dude. He's a goddamn billionaire. What is he
Let Cat talk, dude.
No, just like, speaking of, because you were talking earlier, you said how much respect you have for Scott. When I knew that I really appreciated him as a creator was when, after he released FNAF World, and he made everyone take their money back. He was
That's
like,
good.
if you bought this game, I'm sorry, get your refund right now.
And it's been
going to
free.
be free forever from this point on.
Right.
You ever, like, finish it?
They did the update, but I feel like the Halloween update for it pretty much led directly into Sister Location.
Huh.
Because that's how it ended, basically, was with us learning about Baby. But I think...
That was one of those games that, like, I thought that game had a lot of potential, like, after I learned about, like, the twists and turns it was taking. Mm-hmm. Like, that was the one where it was, like, the creator's back there and he's, like, losing his mind.
Yeah, that was the Halloween update with that.
Yeah.
And I do wish, like, I would like to see more, but I think Scott sort of realized that he's not the person to do it.
Huh.
That's an interesting...
Because it didn't go well the first time.
Oh, you mean making a game like FNAF World?
Yeah.
I thought you meant at the end of Pizzeria, he
Oh,
was
no.
going to keep not continuing the series. I was going to say that's an interesting way to step down from the series. I did want to bring it back to a topic we were discussing earlier. Do you think Resident Evil 7 would exist without PT?
Oh, no.
Would it be a game...
No way. It would not exist without PT.
It wouldn't have had the same feel.
Yeah.
Also, it's so strange that they canceled Silent Hills in the current gaming market.
It was purely for creative differences. I mean, it was clearly
Yeah.
like the people working on it could not work together.
Yeah. It was
Oh,
Konami
you mean
and
Konami and Kojima?
Kojima, yeah.
Because if you were saying, like, oh, Norman Reedus, Kojima, and Guillermo del Toro, they love each other.
Yeah, I don't think... I think if PT had not gotten the...
Blockbuster.
unnecessary thing, undeserved acclaim, then
Walk through a hallway.
Well, fucking a billion times. Oh, this is a good game. Thanks, Kojima.
Unpopular opinion.
Yeah, that's an unpopular opinion. PT
We
fucking
like-
sucks.
Hold on. No, all the ratings are going down for this episode.
Everyone hates us. I'm going to talk about it for a while.
Oh, here we go. Cat's
All the
unpopular opinion.
opinions.
Cat, you have all the unpopular opinions, I feel like.
Hey, I
Yeah,
have...
what did you
I
think
liked
of PT?
Oh, yeah.
That being said, I had the easiest... I got, like, all of the... I stumbled onto so much of the stuff, so I wasn't walking... I had, like, the shortest PT run
did
of
you-
all
literally-
time.
So
How
I'm
did you beat
so
it?
lucky.
Well,
Did you just keep walking? Or did you, like, find the stuff? What happened?
Yeah, like, I kept walking. I made it up to the part where you get the call, and that was... That was
What?
it.
And then what? You just picked up the phone? You just got to pick it
I
up?
picked up the phone. Yeah, pretty much.
Like, you just, by
It
chance...
glitched out at that point.
I think...
So, if something happens there, I don't know what it is.
Oh, so did you reach the ending of the game
Where you walked
yourself,
out the
or
door?
did
As
you...
far as yeah,
You walked out the door?
right.
I think I think the reason why you're so confused is because you guys have... Bless you.
There's a
Two different play styles. Like, I don't know how Cat plays video games. but I do know how you play video games, and you don't press different areas around. You just kept walking, right?
Well, I mean, like
It's hard to do.
I mean, like that's the thing about Silent Hills, though, is it like it doesn't tell you that you should be doing
Yeah,
anything
I
else.
know.
Also, like, again, I was there with 2 other people, and all 3 of us couldn't figure out what the fuck we were supposed to do. And then I looked it up online, couldn't find a consistent answer online, put the headset on, said hello into the mic once I heard the phone ring like 4 times, and that was it somehow? Are you fucking kidding me, PT?
You were going to say something, Cap?
Oh, that was, like, the fact that it didn't give you anything, like, that's one of those things I think it can be really frustrating or
Really good.
really great depending on how lucky you are with it. I lucked out with that on my PT run, so I really enjoyed it because it made it feel more like it was bringing it out of the game and into the real world for me. I think I would have gotten frustrated really fast if I hadn't, like... But I also, my playthrough, I did that with Annika and the other cat, and they both knew what they were doing a little bit more.
Because I don't think any of us in my group had ever watched anything of it or seen anything of it. We were all we knew what the basis was, but we were all going in blind. Were you not there?
I was there.
Yeah,
I was scared.
Yeah, I think you were outside of the room. I think you were
Hey.
I think you were in the bedroom, and I was playing it with 2 other people in the living room.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's right.
I had all the lights off.
Yeah, I
like,
was
really going. That's the biggest sin about this for me is all the lights off. Really getting into it. Like we were all sitting around, like sort of close around the TV, and I was like, "All right, let's get into this." And, like I was real scared for a while, and then the 10th time through, it wasn't scary anymore, and it was just annoying. And even the room turned red, but it was too late. Like it was too late for anything to be scary anymore. And I think that's a big thing with horror games in general. Is that there's a certain point that they can push you to where things are still scary, and then it drops so fast. There's no such thing as a plateau of fear. It's always like a rising crescendo, and you have to know exactly when to maximize on it.
Yeah.
Do you think that's true?
I do. I think that's actually my big complaint about Five Nights at Freddy's 3. Like, they kept
The
pushing
crescendo-
until it wasn't scary anymore.
Right.
And then that one was, like, the joke game for me.
I mean,
It's like,
Right.
Can't Five Nights at Freddy's be in the what am I trying to say? The group
Yeah, I think what you're
the
trying
group
to
of
say.
games becoming frustrating.
That's
more
what
than
I was
being
gonna
scary.
say. Yeah.
Oh,
So
yeah,
Five Nights at
absolutely.
Freddy's. If you even watch Let's Players do it, they're like, "Hey, I'm on my 2020 run. This is part 8 of 15 of me playing my 2020 run." And the jump scares aren't scary anymore, and it's all just...
Alan, question for you.
What's
yeah,
up?
does that get boring?
I think I'm like really lucky with the people that I watch because they are. I mean, like I watch Mark.
Yeah.
Obviously, I watch Markiplier, and I also watch 8-Bit Gaming and 8-Bit Ryan do their horror, and they do. I feel like they do a real good job with their editing. Is the thing because they know like when they get frustrated, they know like to cut out most of it, so
makes
it's
sense,
less. I'm not getting frustrated in the same way that they are, but I can see like if it doesn't get better after a point of being frustrating, I can like see it and I feel it then.
Second question: have you heard of Tattletale?
Telltale was okay.
Yeah, I definitely watched a gaming channel. I watched Funhouse play through it, and they are not a channel to play through a full game like in one video, but they edited a bit, and it was the weirdest thing because it was like a 25-minute video when normally their videos are like 10 to 12 minutes, and it was a full game. And I thought it was pretty good. Like the mechanics were well fleshed out, and it didn't sit there long enough.
Yeah, I think it was okay. Like I didn't think Telltale was anything especially great or anything. I mean, like it had some good elements to it. Like I thought that the Mama animatronic was pretty creepy and it had some stuff going for it, but it just didn't have anything new enough for me.
I get that.
Like I felt like it had already been done better.
We're sort of at that point in horror as a concept, as it seems like, where all horror games are sort of splitting into a variation onto one different thing. And a lot of them are just like, hey, XXX jump scare. Because it's a jump scare.
And Slender, the original, it pretty much wrote the book.
Yeah.
I feel like.
Yeah.
What were you guys doing when Slender was the thing?
I was afraid.
I was playing Slender.
I was playing Slender. I was afraid. I wasn't in the horror scene at that point. I went back and watched it later.
That makes sense.
And it was still scary.
Yeah.
Like, it was still, like, the first time I watched, like, a Slender thing, I was like, oh, no. And I was, like, I was still at the point where I had to, like, watch things through my hands.
I mean, that's...
like, I mean, it's good. It's a good game.
You remember playing Slender on our garbage PC in the...
Oh, my God. I forgot that happened.
Played it on the PC in the basement. Played it in information technology class in high school a lot.
That's crazy that you were in high school when that
Slender came out, yeah.
What was it, like 2011?
Something like that. Yeah.
1996.
Crazy.
Yeah.
You're immortal.
I'm pretty old.
You were 2 at that point.
Mm-hmm.
No, you were 1 at that point.
And still look this good.
No, hey. Oh my,
what the
that's so bad. If you were...
Where were we at?
Here's the real horror. There you go. It's been too long since I said something awkward.
It's in 26. I have another question. It's Outlast related. Are you guys comfortable with how much they focus on dick mutilation?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey.
Oh.
No, here's the thing. Okay.
Are you comfortable? Yes, 100%. That's my comfortable amount of dissimulation.
Okay, because most horror games focus on women being violated.
Okay.
Most of them focus on, like, if you see a lot of them, it's like, it's a note from this woman. Oh, I was viciously attacked and raped.
You're talking like Silent Hill stuff.
Yeah, I'm like maybe not Silent Hill.
Well, I mean,
but I'm talking like,
there's a lot of like women in that game who die or like.
So I mean, like.
Okay, I get it.
I guess it's more of a thing where it's like, I mean, like, I'm a trans man.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, like, I am more on that side of issues. Kat is a woman here and can probably talk about it more.
I feel like, because one of my... See, it's weird, because I played Outlast not when it first came out. I had just been reading a bunch of unsettling stories, and all he talks about is dick mutilation all the time.
Thanks, Max.
So Outlast was like a step back toward normality for me. It was like
I watched Outlast 2, like a demo playthrough of Outlast 2, and the ending.
No, yeah, you get the axe.
And I'm like, dang it, they're doing that again. Like, I didn't need to see that.
No, I didn't need to see that.
I mean, but I can understand the focus on it. Like, isn't it like hyper Catholic? Is that part of the...
Yes.
In LS2 at least.
Yeah, it's the weird cult town.
Okay, so I can get it that...
God, LS2 was...
Actually...
LS2 was absolutely ruined for me by the ending. It's so bad.
Like a sterility, like a...
No, I was thinking, what's the thing you do to...
Castration?
No.
Circumcision?
Circumcision. It's the circumcision.
Because, like, when circumcision was first invented, it was like...
They would just catch a dick. They would hit it with an axe.
They would either... Yeah, they would hurt either gender's genitalia so they could not masturbate.
With an axe.
Not with an axe. But
100% with an axe. Someone fact check.
Yeah, and it was like in...
Already did.
Nice.
Oh!
Like, in that instance, it would make sense that, like, a hyper-Catholic cult would have a focus on that. Do they focus on that a lot in Outlast 2?
They don't focus on... I mean, like...
Ben, don't be nodding your head. I know you haven't seen anything in Outlast 2.
I played Outlast 2.
What?
I heard about the dick mutilation, and I was like, that's a comfortable amount.
I gotta get in there.
I have right in there. I got a couch, I got a cozy shirt, and I was like, this is comfortable.
Such a weird word to use. Why are you so 100%
I told you! I literally told you!
Think about it!
I literally didn't need to.
I used the wrong wording.
Yeah. No, but, like, God, fucking Outlast 2. I was... it was... Outlast 2 was literally ruined by the ending for me.
Okay.
Like, it was... The ending took away so much of what the whole rest of the game had built up.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, because it was, like... The the stupidest ending possible. Like, Kat, did you ever finish Outlast 2?
No.
That I'm not gonna...
Didn't Outlast 1 end with a smoke monster?
Yeah,
I was at the end of Outlast 1.
Don't end
I've just seen the ending of Outlast 1, and like there's a giant wind monster that blows everyone out of the asylum, and that's it.
We're back to unpopular
Also,
opinions.
the main character does not have a dick at the end of Outlast 1.
I think he doesn't have a dick at the end. Whistleblower.
Yeah, Whistleblower is the one that does it.
Wait.
Yeah.
Isn't that
That's
just
the DLC.
That's
The
so it
DLC.
is Outlast 1.
Yeah, but that's a different guy.
Okay. Oh.
Oh.
The other guy doesn't have fingers.
Outlast
okay.
1, I got a decent ways into it, and then the game was like, oh, just kidding. You're a fucking idiot. So Outlast goes against every core gameplay nature, like, of all time. So you have a battery that gives you your night vision, so you can see in the dark, which is important for the game, where you're in the dark a lot, on your camera.
You're sweating a lot.
I'm sad. There's a battery, so there's a little battery meter, and it's like, okay, and then you can press the button to change your battery out.
Oh, right, you told me.
Yeah,
about
every
this.
part of my gameplay experience has been like, running low on something, reload it, make sure you're full, but that's not how batteries work. So my character would just take the battery and throw it as far as he could
When it was
away.
like 3 bars of power.
Yeah, it was like, or it'd be like halfway, and I'd be like, time to switch to the battery. Whoop! And then I was like, I'm out of batteries. Better not do that again. Whoop! And then I did that over and over. And so I got to I got into a sewer where it's all dark, and I didn't have any batteries. And I was like, what do I do now, Outlast? And Outlast was like, you go fuck yourself, idiot. Maybe you play a different, easier game, you little baby. And I was like, okay, I'm done playing this.
Even though
fucking piece of shit
Outlast is a run and hide game.
Yeah, it's a run and hide game.
Question for both of you.
Why don't you have any questions for me?
You're not a whore.
Why
Why would I?
about dick mutilation?
I don't want to ask you about that. We're past that.
How much dick mutilation is in your new book?
Oh, there's about 64,000 pages.
Oh, wow.
Oh my god.
I was uncomfortable with it, though. For the record,
You didn't write it. You're the author. You put what you want in the book. Why?
It's in the conspiracies.
Don't be part of that community.
I had already gotten 1,000 pages in.
Here's the thing. This is why we think George Washington isn't dead. We dug up his corpse. No dick. No dick.
And as a professional dick mutilator, I don't think too much dicks.
As it turns out, 64,000 pages of this are just like, he has no dick, and then it's a colon, and then a
Question
bunch
mark?
of... No, it's a bunch of the sad faces.
I was thinking it's like a horror thing where it's just like, he has no dick.
And he must scream.
And then like, he has no dick, he has no dick, he has no dick.
What's
Wow,
that-
I want to read this book
Oh,
now.
fake death and doing
That-
dick
that-
means George Washington. It's alive. I'd read that.
Wow,
I'm glad.
I have no dick and I must scream.
that sounds right.
So back to my question at hand.
That's a good... I like that. I would play that game as opposed to I have no mouth. and
Thank
I must
you.
scream. Have you guys ever played that?
I'm actually playing that right now.
What do you think?
I'm liking it.
I've seen... I love the premise of it. And just like, I've watched the whole intro like a dozen times. I want to pick it up at some point, but I've never like...
I think I would die. I think if I played an old computer game that is horror based, I think I would die.
We are already...
I can't get past I Spy on the.
We are already
on the
scared
PC.
to death of normal old computer games.
Yeah,
So if an old computer game was also horror based,
I would die.
oh boy.
I was going to ask this question. Have you ever played? Are there any recent horror games you disliked?
Oh, me?
yes, yes, Ben.
Have you heard of a little game called PT?
We've talked about this before.
Sure.
right now,
I did
actually.
like it. Let me tell you guys about how I feel. See, or Outlast. Maybe you've heard of that one.
Did you know that Norman Reedus in PT has no dick?
Wow.
You must scream about it, too.
That's good.
You walk out the door and he's like, oh, my dick.
It happens in the
It
end.
happens in the end of it.
That's a secret ending.
Oh, yeah, if you collect all the pieces of the baby and put it back together.
And you see Jim at the end of the street, and he's like, "Ooh, I've got a secret."
He's holding a glass jar.
You've seen the trailer with Guillermo del Toro where he has the feet. It's Norman Reedus' dick.
That's the, he normally just lifts up his dick and then it's like oil. It's just oil. Man, that's what Death Stranding is about.
God.
Dick
Wow.
Stranding.
Wow.
Please answer the question, Harley.
Dick's handing? Is that a pun?
Oh God. What?
Kick standing. We did it, folks. What time is it? I think the episode is over.
We're at almost 35 minutes.
That's a good way to end the episode.
I really want to get there.
Ben's mad. Recent horror games.
Recent horror games
Like any
that you didn't enjoy.
Indie.
I mean,
AAA.
we can do AAA and then indie.
Okay, Kat, what do you think?
For that I didn't like, I have a lot of issues with, I like the story a lot for Evil Within, but I'm not a big fan of the mechanics for it. So I've like just recently started Evil Within 2, and I'm having all the same kinds of issues over again. It's really slow going. So for AAA, that would probably be. There are a lot of things that I like about the game, but as an experience, I'm not super into the second one.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I like the Evil Within, like, I like the premise and everything. It didn't get me as a horror game, though.
It's more survival.
Yeah, it's like more action survival. I mean, like, I think the second one is way better from a storytelling perspective, because it's more focused. And, like, I like getting to know my main character. But again, I'm the one that watches it, so, like, I'm not having the issues with mechanics, because I'm not the one playing. But I think from a storytelling perspective, 2 is way better than 1 was. But again, it still isn't very much of a... It's a little more of a horror game than the first one was, but I mean, it still really lends itself more to the action side of things, I feel like.
And actually, that is something, like, for as much as I complain about it, because I'm not good at stealth mechanics, that's always been one of my biggest weaknesses in any game ever. I'm not stealthy. And so, like, the Evil Within, I think it actually, as much as I hated all of the stealthing, it made it a lot scarier, because it's like, I know I'm not going to do well at this, and the pressure's really high for me to stealth.
I was gonna say, out of the scariest non-horror games I've ever played, Metal Gear Solid. Yeah. When you're just trying to go for a perfect 100% stealth run is like so scary, because just like any little thing could go wrong at any time.
Especially like imagine playing it in like PS2 when like
all the lights are off.
Raiden's dick is out.
The whole time.
That does happen at the end of MGS2. I was gonna say, I feel like a horror game cannot call itself a horror game if by the end of the game you're like Rambo. Like you have a shotgun and you're blowing away like a bunch of enemies at once.
Well, I think that's what Resident Evil 7 did really well, though. Because, I mean, like, it did like, you were loaded up on weapons at the end.
I was seeing some stuff at the end there.
Still was, like, it was still genuinely creepy, and it really kept, like, the mystery of the whole thing going, and, like, it kept playing on your fears the whole time. So even though you could deal with threats, it still threw a lot at you that you had to deal with. Yeah. And it also really worked on the psychological level, also.
Yeah, okay. I get it.
Scariest game you've ever played?
Oh, God, I don't play the horror games. You know I'm the person that watches them, so something Cat played, probably.
See, it's hard, because it's like, I feel like there's a difference between being scared in the moment and lingering fear
the game
afterward.
That still sticks in your heart.
Yeah.
Right.
Like,
right, well,
while I was playing it, Until Dawn, my first Until Dawn run, because the quick time events are another thing I'm bad at.
That's
true. So it was like the stealth thing, because they were so random. You didn't get a lot of warning, and it's like, I was so on edge waiting for those quick time events that everything else that was happening, that was a good... You know, my second playthrough, I wasn't scared at all. But that first one, I was so into it that was...
My scariest game I've ever played was I Spy Treasure Hunt.
Oh!
For the PC when I was 5.
Very scary.
In my dark basement, and it was very scary.
Because our basement used to be... You've been in our basement now.
It's a very warm and inviting place, but it was not always like that.
It was not. When we were younger, the basement was like...
cold and dark.
There was like no carpet on the floor. It was like unlivable. Like it was like nobody lives down here. All the rooms are like filled with junk.
A dusty CRT TV sat in like a dusty display case.
Generally sounds like a horror movie.
Yeah.
Turns out.
And then we would go down there and
the floor
play
was carpeted.
Jumpstart and get scared as fuck. Eddie Boo was there.
Yeah.
Don't trust that.
Have you guys ever seen Addy Boo? Motherfucker has face masks in his... he sits down at a desk. There's like a mirror. Like he puts his face on, but it's faces. It's not like makeup. It's just actual faces.
Oh boy.
And it's like... It's Addy Boo faces. Eyes are gone. Mouths are...
Like a mask.
Like a mask.
It's like a mask he puts on his face.
Yes.
Yeah. But you never actually see him put on a face.
Anyways.
Did he have a dog?
Probably. He had a lot of stuff in that fucking... I wish more people knew about Addy Boo, I feel like.
I wish more people had played the
I feel
Jumpstart
like
games.
Yeah, I feel like so many of those games are goddamn Crystal Cove. That's a monster, right? That's the one?
Yeah, Candle Cove.
Candle Cove, that's the one. Except with that one, it was like, oh yeah, I remember that too. Everybody's always like, I remember that, but I can never like see anything of it around. But for us, it's always like, you guys remember Addy Boo? And people are like, the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
And I'm like, Dad, do you remember Addy Boo? Yeah, I used to stare at the computer for a long time and it was all static.
Wow.
Just to interject real fast here, one of my favorite gaming stories about Alan is that his favorite game as a child was a tax program. It was not a video game.
So it had like characters and stuff.
That explains
but it-
literally so much about it.
Like, yeah, that's a great insight into my life. Is I read math books as a child, my dad played Chex Quest while I watched, and then when I played games, it was a tax program.
I've never had a more clear...
How are you an artist? I imagine, like, from that you'd become an accountant.
I almost went to became a psychologist, but then
That's not almost an accountant.
These
are not the same thing.
Two different things. Actually, I have a real answer for the scariest game I ever played. I think it was Black Ops 1.
Yeah.
Call of Duty.
Call of Duty?
Like,
with the flashbacks and stuff, and the
remember,
you're tied in the
you
room.
wake up in a room being questioned by the CIA.
And there's all the numbers.
There's like the numbers, and there's a point in the game. No, in the
I got goosebumps.
in the menu screen because you're thinking about it.
Because I'm thinking about it.
In the menu screen, you're like tied to a chair. That's the menu select.
Jesus.
And you can get out of your bindings and walk around the room. And it's like a dark, musty interrogation room, and you can like look at the like computers on the table or something. You can like look at like the blacked out window, and you can look up and you can see people like talking that were talking to you. Like they're gone. They are no longer in that room, and it's like, oh, and it has like a delay to it. Like the room kind of like spins as you're like moving around it. It's not like actually spinning, but your vision is kind of blurred.
I don't like it.
It's yeah.
My actual scariest game ever is Lone Survivor. Have you played Lone Survivor?
Yeah.
I have not beat it yet because it scared me too bad. It's legitimately picked it up on the Vita. I was playing it, and it was like for the best experience, like all horror games. Lights off, headphones in. Did that, literally threw my Vita like away because I got so goddamn scared of it. Like every single piece of that game is just unnerving, and it plays at all the right aspects. Like it's like you need to eat, but all the food is gonna go bad, and it's gonna like ruin you. You need to move through these places. But there are enemies everywhere, and you need to shoot them, but your gun is so loud it'll attract more enemies. You don't have enough shot, like, it gives you just enough shots to kill one of them, and it's just like, who God? And then it does the scariest thing I think any game can do, which is where you walk into a room and everything's normal.
Yeah.
Oh man.
It was really good at, like, building up that atmosphere, and just kind of...
Like, there's a scene in the game, oh my God, I hate it. There's a scene in the game it's pretty early in, where you walk into a room and like you're literally like fucking all boarded up. There's like flesh walls everywhere. Everything is decaying. You see the monsters. Oh, it's all pixels too, so it's real good at like describing to you what is not human. And the enemies are just like these huge lanky things that'll like scream and stun you and then like just shake as they come towards you. So you walk into this room though, and it's just like two people having a party, and they're like, chill out, man, have some snacks. It's like, it's just a fine time. And you're like, what are you fucking talking about, dude? It's the apocalypse out there. And then you walk out the door and onto the balcony, and you're talking to somebody, and they're like, actually like sort of leveling with you, and you're like, here's a gun, you're gonna need this. And then you walk back in, and the room is destroyed all of a sudden, and they're just the monsters. Oh my God, I can't pick it up again. Like, I still have it installed, and I'm like, I should really play this again. Because I like it. It scared me so much. I should play it again. but I have not.
You know what game would probably get to me? Little Nightmares.
Little Nightmares is a good one.
That aesthetic just kills me. I can't.
It's pretty. There are a lot of good, like, indie games, honestly.
Speaking of indie games, I think the game that left the scariest impression with me overall is Bunker 16.
Ooh, I think I remember.
Because I'm really bad at directions, so you're like wandering around this bunker, and it starts out as just the small bunker, and like as stuff is unraveling and you're picking up pieces of the story, it's expanding, and the like room locations are changing.
Oh, man.
Oh.
So it's like, and it's really claustrophobic. It's all underground. You're sealed in. There's like stuff coming out of the walls at you,
Oh,
and it's
God.
like it's an indie game. It's free to play, I believe. You can download it from Game Jolt.
Yeah, but what about
And it's just real spooky.
what about 1916? Your favorite
I was just
horror
talking
game.
about
Oh,
1916 earlier
That's
today.
the Raptor game.
That's
Yeah,
the Raptor game.
yeah.
Yes.
Oh, I remember how mad I got at that fucking game. Picked up the gas mask. Let's go right into the gas. You didn't put the gas mask on. I didn't. What? My motherfucking dude picked up the gas mask and didn't immediately put it on his face.
No.
I remember because we played that one and then we played The House 2.
Oh, The House 2! Yeah, that was amazing!
The House 2 was a great example of a game that got frustrating to the point where it wasn't scary anymore.
It was also like a really good example of a game that's not scary but has that really good horror aesthetic. Like,
Right.
You want to be scared because all the visuals are so good, but the game and then the text also was translated.
Yeah, I
so
was
it's like
like,
real
oh.
awkward. It's like no one dares enter this house. Are you? And you're like, what? Am I?
Alright!
I remember the game.
Me?
Speaking of claustrophobic games, have any of you ever seen or played Silent Hill 4?
I've
Yeah.
That's the one where you walk through
not
the
very
walls
far.
you walk through the holes in the walls, right?
You are locked in your own apartment, and the only way to get through anything is you go through. You're stalking. You see this woman. She's your next door neighbor. You never talk to her, like, until you go through like walls that just start appearing in your house, and you see her in a dream subway area, and it's all dark, messed up, and it's just. The whole concept of being like locked in your apartment, but you can look outside and everything's normal, and like you can watch. I just remembered a scene. You see the woman going into the subway. Like you look out your window and you see her going into the subway, and then you go through the wall and you are dealing with her in the subway, and I think she dies.
Oh. Yeah,
What, in a
that's...
Silent Hill game?
Silent Hill 4. Oh,
yeah, no, I still have to... I really want to, like, pick up the Silent Hill series as a whole, but, like, I started with the worst one.
Downpour.
Downpour.
not the worst one.
What's the
Oh.
worst one?
Worst one?
Book of Memories.
Oh,
I know
right.
about that
I
one.
remember.
That's the Vita one, right?
Yeah.
What's that about?
It's the multiplayer Silent Hill game where you have the book in your apartment and then the book is also in Silent Hill and you have to like collect memories and they can be good or bad memories and it affects the...
Could be a good or a bad game, and they definitely went for bad.
I played the demo of that one, and I remember just being sort of uninterested.
Yeah,
Like, I
it's-
played through the whole thing, and I was like, I guess.
There are like a few cool mechanics, but the rest of the game is executed so poorly that it's like,
I think I might argue that Downpour is probably worse.
Ooh,
I didn't
fight.
finish Downpour, so...
I mean, I haven't finished it either, but... Man, what a waste of fucking time that game is. It does, like... So, the way I understood it, and I never actually played this, but, like, I always understood that Silent Hill, or this game at least, when I read, like, the descriptions of it in, like, Game Informer and stuff, it was like, your choice will really matter. Like, it will really input the game. And they don't matter. And the thing that blows my mind is you do both of them, like, every single fucking time. You open the game, and you're like, you're a prisoner, and you're like, and the car crashes, and like you're like walking through the woods, and it's spooky, and the cop chasing you is like, hey, stop, and they point their gun at you, and then they like slip, and they're like, they're about to fall off a cliff, and you're like, oh no, and you get to either save them or let them fall. So my guy was like, oh, I'll save them, and then they fall anyways, and I was like, huh,
Yeah.
weird. Later on in the game, you see a person who's like, like they're on the edge, like past a fence, they're gonna jump, and you get the option to like either like try and talk them down or like berate them for something. And I click talk them down, And then, like, he started to talk them down, and then the person said something, and then my character started berating them, and then they jumped, and I was like, motherfucker, why would you do both of them? I told you to do the one of them, why did you do the other one? And I feel like that kept happening. And also, the combat and weapons were fucking terrible. I had to use a cheat code just to get good weapons out of the fucking game. I don't know.
Oh, just like, here's a thing. What's everyone's, like, has there ever been a horror game that you played just for the style of art?
I'm trying to think of all the horror games I've ever actually played.
Yeah, I haven't pursued a lot of horror games.
I actively seek out, like, I like to watch, like more pixelated horror games. Like, I really enjoy, like, 18-bit and 16-bit horror games. I think they have a real charm to them.
Makes sense.
Because of the minimalism of it, and leaving so much to the imagination. Like, whenever I see one of those, I'm like, hell yes. Hell yes, that one.
I was gonna say, I don't know if I've actively sought them out, but I keep running into them, and I'm always like, I think this is like a real legitimate game.
What horror games have I played?
I don't know. That's one of the things that got me when you were like, let's have a horror
I have
episode.
played through the entirety of Dead Space.
Oh.
Dead Space 1.
Dead Space 1.
Horror game.
You know what? I'll say that. Dead Space 1 is probably my biggest horror game. Just because of how it handles itself. There's both psychological and physical horror.
I've talked about this one before, but Dead Space, the game on the iPad, is one of the most legitimate iOS ports of a game I've ever played in my life. Because it makes you I feel like I have talked about this on the podcast before, but there are segments of it where it makes you necromorphs. Like, you'll just be walking, and then all of a sudden you're a necromorph. And then you, like, wake up, and you're, like, in a completely different area, and it's all bloody and stuff, and you're like, what the fuck did I do?
Ugh.
And it's good. It really gets to you psychologically.
Have you played any of the Slender iOS games?
I have not.
I'm talking about, what's the one game? What's the one game that you always make us play?
Oh, no, that's
That's
the
the
Five
FNAF.
Nights at... Yeah, that's Five Night at Buddy Night Vision. That's my favorite mobile game.
Of course.
You were saying an actual thing.
Oh, no,
I
just, like,
interrupted
I
you.
really like... Because there are a bunch of 8 pages ripoffs that people have ported to the iOS. And they're so stupid, but they're one of my favorite things. Like, my favorite tablet game.
That was one of the things that happened. And with any good game, there are going to be impersonators. So Slender the 8 Pages came out and sort of like rocked the world because it was just this little like computer game.
Yeah.
And then it was all of a sudden like one of the biggest games possible. And it really brought Slender, who had always been like a concept with the Marble Hornets and everything, brought it to like the front page of pop culture. I mean, it didn't quite catch on the way that Five Nights at Freddy's did.
Right.
Because it
It
just
was
doesn't
earlier
have
time.
as much you can't catch on to.
Right.
The game is very simple. But man, did it get those fucking impersonators like immediately.
Oh, yeah.
Right away.
It was like, nothing like playing some good Swamp. There's a Shrek one.
Oh.
Yeah, Swamp
Shadow of
Simulator.
Shrek.
Swamp Simulator,
Oh, okay.
that's the one.
I thought there was one called Shadow of Shrek.
I mean, probably.
Probably.
There's like a billion Shrek games that are Slender.
I wanted to say something about Dead Space 3 because people are like, oh, it's co-op. Oh, it kind of lost the horror. There's a scene in the game where it's kind of near the end and you're in a derelict mining facility and you're always together. But in this one scene, if you're playing as Colton, I think that's his name,
The other guy?
the other guy, you start hallucinating and Isaac doesn't.
That's what blows my mind. So Dead Space 3, if you're playing as Isaac, that's just a fucking action-adventure game where there are sometimes necromorphs. And I didn't know that it changed for the other guy until I randomly played it with Randy at some point just to get his trophies.
I was playing...
He does it all the time.
I was playing as him through it, and I was just like... I got to a point where he starts hallucinating his son and wife.
Yeah.
And then he got to a point where he was fighting hordes of his son who were trying to bring him to the floor. And, like, I think I played through that same segment as Isaac, and I'm just, like, shooting normal necromorphs.
And, the horror is so good in that, and it's a shame because it doesn't, imply that at any point. It doesn't ever say, be sure to, pick up the game as Colton. Or, if the game gave you, so you play as Isaac. If the game was, second player, I think it is Colton.
I feel like Colton is the name.
If it was like second player Colton mode, and it's like after you beat the game, now try it out as him to get a totally different experience, I'd be like, oh, alright, cool. But the fact that you have to do it as the co-op super limits the way that the game works. It's like locking it behind a wall, and it's just like, I would rather just play it. Just give me that story.
Horror game trope that I want to run by you guys. At the end of Dead Space 3, it came out in, 2013? I can spoil the game.
Worry about spoilers.
I figure there's a spoiler warning on
there's
this
a point
already.
There's a DLC at the end of Dead Space 3. It's like, oh, Isaac and Colton survived like the world-ending thing. Like they beat the moon. They beat the evil moon that is making the necromorphs. Spoiler. And they're like, okay, we're alive. We survived. Like, we got to get back to Earth. And then they get to Earth, and there's like 50 necromoons, and I'm like, okay, at that point, I don't care about the ending anymore, because it's like, oh, you made their struggles useless. Do you feel like that happens a lot in horror games?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't always bother me, but it does happen a lot, and some games do pull it off better than others.
I think that's one of my things with that Outlast 2 ending, is it's very much that. Because it's just, like, it was like you went through all this stuff, oh, it doesn't matter. It's like...
Yeah.
But then there's, like, Finger Bones, which it's just, like, a short little game.
Oh, yeah, Finger Bones
obviously,
is good.
but when you get to the point where it's, like, everything that I've done hasn't really helped me because it was always leading to this, like... It was done well enough that it wraps up the story, and it didn't bother me that everything I just went through.
I guess the thing about Dead Space 3 is I played Dead Space 1, then Dead Space 2, then Dead Space 3, and then bought a DLC. I did not buy the DLC, but then bought a DLC to realize that the ending, I went there and then everything went to shit.
It's the kind of thing, so, and I feel like it takes a lot of the inspiration from horror movies, because horror movies, I don't like them. I don't like horror movies because I don't get to play in it, I don't get to do anything.
You don't like movies.
I like movies, but the way that I'm normally like, when I exit a movie theater, I'm like, I would love to play a game of that.
Right.
I'm like, that was a good movie. Horror movies generally always feel hopeless, and all the ones I've watched literally just end up with everybody fucking dead, so I'm like, so then what was the point of the entire goddamn arc of the movie, and the characters, and the suspense, if they were gonna...
I think it's one of those things where if it's going to end as a tragedy, it has to really, like, it has to feel right. Like, it's one of those things, it can be done really well, or really badly. Mm-hmm. And it's like, because if you, like, I feel like it's one of those things, like, because isn't that the ending of the first Doom, also?
Like, you get back to Earth and it's
you get back to Earth and it's already been, but
Doom 2 comes around and you just fuck them up.
Exactly. It's like one of those things where it's like, I feel like it works better in that case than it does for something like one of the other billion Dead Space,
right.
Probably. Because it has to feel right with the story, and it has to feel right with the theme.
Doom is not a horror game, though.
That's true, Doom is not a horror game.
Doom is a game in which you rip and tear.
Right.
So when you arrive on Earth and there are more demons, you say, oh,
let's rip and tear.
Let's rip and tear. Because that's what you do in Doom.
I just got excited about Doom for a second.
That's fair. More than fair.
I'm watching the list, like, of the best horror games, and Doom was on there.
No.
It's like, that's not
what
right.
What are you talking about?
Doom
Doom
had a lot of disturbing content, but it wasn't a horror game.
Right.
It was, I'm gonna kill demons.
It's
with
what
my
I was talking.
fists.
It was what I was talking about at the end. It's like if you're Ramboing it, it's not a horror game.
Yeah.
Right.
And you were
always Ramboing it in Doom.
You were Rambo.
So in Dead Space, you are Ramboing it a lot in Dead Space, but
you can
there's
die
always
like so fast,
and there's always a feeling of hopelessness. So, and one of the things, this is what I brought up with like Last of Us.
Last of Us.
I talked about the ending of Last of Us and how it pissed me off because it's just like, hey, here's all your work, fuck it, fuck you. And that's, so I think a horror movie can have an ending where it's like, and then all the main characters are dead, and that's the movie. And I'd be like, that's fine, that's just why I don't like horror movies. But when a horror game does it, I'm like, hey, fucker, give me back my 20 hours of gameplay if you were just gonna kill me at the end of it regardless.
It's like, if you die in a game, it has to mean something.
Yeah.
Like, especially if you're just gonna die at the end. It has to mean something. Because, again, like you said, you've invested 20, 30, 40 hours of gameplay in it.
$180 plus what, a $20 DLC probably?
Oh, for Dead
Dead Space
Space
3.
Yeah.
So $200, like fucking 100 hours easily of gameplay for it to be like, and then all the Necromoons beat the Earth anyways.
But what I'm glad is that there's not a Dead Space 4.
Yeah.
Like, they could have easily kept the series going, but they didn't. Like, Resident Evil 7, it's a good horror game, but did there really need to have to be 7 Resident Evil games when, like, the fans hated the last 2?
I mean, like, but I think the thing about Resident Evil 7 is really saved the series.
Yeah, that's true.
I think it did need to happen just because
it needed to
fans
happen.
wanted it.
Yeah, people wanted another Resident Evil. They wanted a good Resident Evil
Yeah.
game. That's what people wanted. Like, they wanted to know more about the world, but they didn't want it in that same style that the last one had done. I mean, it's not this...
It's not.
I know. I don't think people needed to know more about the world.
Yeah, I mean-
I don't think there were any questions. I think
I feel like the world reset with Resident Evil 7.
There's
it was
definitely...
just different. It was a different look
Well,
at it.
no, Chris Redfield is no longer jacked.
I mean, like, it's a different...
Is Chris Redfield in 7?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's at the end.
No shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's one of those things where it's like they haven't really given us enough info about the rest of the world because it was very... that goes about against what I said.
You see Wesker in the basement.
Chris Redfield punches the fucking dude in the face.
That's
They're like
right.
a huge bug monster or whatever happens inside.
Like,
He just-
sup?
and he presses the B button and fucking punches him out.
I don't know what to tell you about the Not a Hero DLC.
Does he do that?
Does he do that?
You play as Chris Redfield in the Not a Hero
Oh
DLC.
shit! Oh man, I gotta get that game. I have never played a fucking.
I
played a
did
little bit
know
into
that you
5.
play as him in the Not a Hero DLC, but I didn't know what he did.
You punch out a bug monster because that's sexy. Fuck.
You punch a lot of shit as Chris Redfield,
That's
dude.
awesome.
Sup, Mr. Baker? Oh!
That's the DLC that every single horror game would have. If there was a fucking Slender DLC where you just walk into the woods,
turn around and look at Slender,
deck him in the face, you get a quick time command where you fucking cross counter him. I'd pay $50 for that when the game was free.
You pick up one of the papers and it's a gun.
I'm not a huge guy about microtransactions, but if like there was a jump scare and then the game was like, if you press the B button, you get to and pay $1, you get to fucking deck it in the face. I was gonna say dick, but then I was like, we talked about dick mutilation too much this episode.
You think if you punched him in the dick, you would mutilate it immediately?
Is that a comfortable
Yeah.
amount?
Is that a paper mache? Is Slender's dick made out of paper mache?
Do you know? Cat.
According, it's actually like if
Is
we're
it a
going by
tentacle?
Stiffer Man, it's like a bunch of.
We are not. We were talking
tentacles.
about Slender Man.
Oh, wow.
I'm
In that
I'm,
case, absolutely paper.
I'm so happy you were able to answer.
Kat reads enough creepypastas that she knows a lot about everything.
I don't want to hear anything about a guy named Stiffer Man.
I think you do.
No.
I
It
know
has-
more than enough about it already.
It has the
Because-
phrase "I'm the real Slim Slendy." It's beautiful.
It's the best.
So what do you guys think? Are you gonna go see the Slender movie?
I'm on the fence about it. I'm waiting to see if they release any more information, because it's like, if the controversy gets worse, if people are right about all of these concerns that they're having
Yeah,
regarding,
definitely.
then I'm probably not going to go see it.
Yeah, because it
But-
seems like a weird thing to support.
Yeah.
Here's my
Torrent it. Just torrent it instead.
here's my Slenderman review. And it's like you put it out, and it's like and you like it, and it's like I can't believe you would support them making money off a tragedy.
Yeah. That's the other thing, is that like like some of the family members that were involved in the stabbing have been like, this is really distasteful, don't do this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, and it's like, if it's upsetting families of an actual tragedy, maybe
Maybe
do
don't.
it.
Yeah,
Maybe you
seems like
don't
a
need
good
to do
idea.
this for a
Don't.
horror movie.
I think maybe they could have done like
They could have at least focused like on the Slender mythos,
Yeah, maybe
instead
a
of
bit
doing like the
differently.
mental illness angle.
Yeah, make a
Because,
movie about
wow.
Slenderman instead of how it impacts children.
As it turns out, we don't need any more stigma around mental illness.
Yeah.
Wow, crazy.
So I think that's where we'll end it. That has been episode 69 of Cookies and Milk. Oh my god, yeah. I have been your host, William.
I'm your host, Ben.
I'm Kat.
I'm Alan.
Oh,
Thank you for.
We're from Toxic
hold on a
Bubblegum.
minute. Hold on a minute. Yeah. I forgot this is how you do guests on podcasts. If people are listening and they want to know more about, where can they find you?
You can find me at In Defense of the Horror at wordpress.com or In Defense of the Genre at Tumblr.
You can find me at Bubblegum Buddy and Studios on Tumblr and also on my website, but that should be fixed. I have to get the domain fixed for it. So Tumblr right now. And then you could also find our joint work at toxicbubblegum.wordpress.com.
Yes.
I was gonna say, I think it'd be funny if I was like, and then you could find him at 125 Weather Street Drive.
I give them our address! Now everyone knows! Okay.
All right.
Do you want to... Hold on, you had a great zinger for the ending. You want to bring that back?
What'd you guys think of the cookies?
Oh, yeah.
Ask me about my book.
I thought
They were good.
I thought the peanut butter ones were better.
the oatmeal, yeah, I felt they were better.
I think both of these cookies are
Niche
better
box.
with water.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's just the truth.
I can understand that. I
Like-
had it with milk and
Yeah, the lemon
fine.
ones definitely wouldn't be any good with milk.
Yeah,
The peanut
they're
butter
not.
ones maybe, but I feel like they're just... I don't know how to describe them. I feel like they're rich enough by themselves
Yeah.
that they don't get anything from milk.
yeah.
Did
Okay.
I have
Thank
a
you,
zinger
Nature
for the
Box.
ending?
Wait,
Yeah,
what's the
dick
number?
thing.
What's the number rating for?
Well,
Oh, for the cookies? I think the mini peanut butter oatmeal cookies are probably a solid 7 or 8 out of 10. And I would say the same, the lemon tea biscuits probably a 6 or 7 out of 10.
I'm gonna give the oatmeal a 7 and the lemon a 6.
do we also have to give her
Yeah, you can. You should. You are guests.
I give the peanut butter ones a 7, probably a 5 to the lemon ones.
Really?
Yeah.
I'd give a 7 to the lemon ones. I didn't eat any of the peanut butter ones. They
Took
went
them
a lot
from you.
faster
Yeah.
than the other ones.
Oh yeah, there's one right here.
Here
Yeah,
it is.
you-
A single one. Ben,
There's a different... Oh, man, try not to...
This is some live footage right here.
So I think
live blogging.
the mini peanut butter...
Oh, cool.
What do you think?
Number.
Rate it,
8?
please.
Wow.
The mini peanut butter ones are I said a 7 or 8, right? That
Yeah.
was a-
And you said the lemon was a 6 or 7.
They are a 7 or 8 out of 10 when I'm just normally having them. If it is 3 in the morning and I am binging video games and I need to eat something and I get like a shot glass of water, they are a 10 out of 10.
Have you done this?
I have done this.
Yes.
I do this often.
Oh
Ben does
man.
this often.
This
yeah.
is my normal like Saturday night. It's 4 in the morning and I'm fucking vintage cube drafting.
By yourself?
Yeah, it's
Oh.
online, Magic Online.
Oh,
Okay. I was like, what?
That would have been. That was
Why is
about to
Randy
get.
here at 4 in the morning?
That was about to get really sad if you were cubing by yourself. No. All right, I think that's it. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thanks for listening.